Hey, what's going on? I'm Adam Callan. Probably following me on Art of the Hustler. I decided I kind of want to put together some videos, just a little quick 1-2 things on how to make some money and what I do for best practices from a consulting standpoint. A lot of stuff is really hard to just put things across in, a Snapchat or Instagram post or 140 characters in a tweet. It's like I had just talked with one guy earlier today, and he was saying about how all these guys are out there with putting all the little motivational pictures out and putting things of, oh, don't quit, work harder, and I do it too, put hustle harder on everything, but it's true, you do need to hustle harder. But so I figured I'm gonna start doing these little videos, and then I'll post links to them and all those little social media things so you can check them out. So this is the first one. Sorry for the weird angle. I have my phone literally just balancing on a coat, and I've confiscated a conference room at my client site. It's 9 o'clock at night, so no one's gonna care. First thing I want to talk about is scope creep and change orders. These are going to be, I think, in any world of consulting, you probably do this in anything. Scope, it could be literally anything. You probably use this in my tattoo shops. But more importantly, this is very important for what I do. I do network IT security consulting services. So scope creep, what is it? Scope creep is when the client comes to you and says, oh, you know what would be really cool if you could also do this. It's just a little thing. Could you just kind of do it for me? And you, wanting to please your client and make them happy and keep them paying, you say, yeah, sure, no problem. You just want to change that from a blue to a red, or yeah, no problem. You just want me to, put this on this server as opposed to that server. Yeah, no problem. I can do that for you. So that's how it starts. It always starts out as something small. And you've probably seen this. I'm sure you have if you've been in this business for a while. But eventually it'll get more and more things. They'll ask you for larger and larger changes, and eventually they're like, oh, you know what? We don't want the servers on these 4 boxes. We want you to reinstall it on 6 boxes. Is that okay? It's good, and it gets to where now you're talking about major work. So where do you draw the line? I draw the line at is it in my SOW, and is that what we agreed to from the very beginning? If it's not, I'm not doing it. You just kind of got to be firm with them. You don't want to just sit there and say, fuck you, no, I'm not doing it. But what you want to say is, look, right now I'm committed to delivering these deliverables by this deadline so that you can have your product. If even these little things come into play, I cannot guarantee my deadline. So let me ask you, is your deadline more important, or is this thing being blue or red more important? They're always going to say the deadline is more important, because if they miss the deadline, that means they're going to have to pay you more money, and someone's going to get in trouble, and all kinds of things. So they're always going to want to say, no, the deadline's important. Say, cool. So what you do is, you know what, I'm going to take this down, and all these changes you have at the very end when the project's done, or if we come in beforehand, then we can come back. We can circle back, those awesome buzzwords. We can circle back then and then implement those changes. Okay, cool. So scope creep is a killer, because what will happen is, if you don't do it right, what they're going to do is say, hey, I want to do, some lady just walked by and stared at me, wondering who the hell I'm talking to. Anyway, so scope creep will kill you, because let's say you want to keep the client happy. Like, yeah, no problem, I'll do the change for you, and you start doing the change, and it takes you an hour. Well, that's an hour that you could have been working on something else. And then now, let's say they ask you for 8 of those little changes throughout the entire project. That's 8 hours of work. That's a whole day, right? I don't know what you bill for a day, but for me, that's a lot of money. Now let's say that's 8. Now that's a short project. Let's say you have a long project. Like sometimes my project can go a year or more. Now let's say they're going to have 40 changes within a year. Little things, 40 within a year. That's pretty reasonable. Well, now you've just moved the entire project off a week. That's a major change. And what's going to happen is, it's going to be your fault that the project is a week late, not theirs. Not because they said, oh, what, just because I asked for the thing to be blue and not red, therefore my project's late a week? No, I'm not going to buy that. And then they're going to come after your ass. So always say no and move it on. Now, let's say this thing, we really want it. We really need this thing to be blue, or we really need these 2 other servers. They go, okay, no problem. Let's put together a change order. And that's where we get to the next part, change orders. Change orders are additional work that was not originally outlined in your initial contract or your SOW, statement of work. So if the client says, hey, I want this product installed on 6 servers and not 4, that's a big deal. This one's a little bit more, makes a little more sense. But that's something, they would say, yeah, we'll put together a change order. Now what you're going to do is say, okay, look, here's an addendum to the original SOW that we created. And what I want you to do is you're going to list out who requested the change from the client side, the date that they requested it, what the change is, who received the request. Most of the time it'll probably be yourself, or if you have a project manager on site, they receive the request, then you're going to put their name. You're going to say, okay, this is the change that's requested, here, and list out all the details. Client wants X application installed on 6 servers, not 4 servers, as originally stated in the SOW. And then you're going to want to say what the impact is on the schedule. Because of this, it's going to take me an extra 2 weeks of time. I don't know. And then you're also going to say what the additional cost is. Put everything up front to the client. You don't want to have any surprises to them. You say, okay, for this additional 2 weeks, it's going to cost you another $20,000 or $2,000 or $50. It doesn't matter what it is. And then say, okay, and then you sign off saying, I agree to these changes and under these new terms. And then you hand it off to the client and say, okay, look, you want those 2 more servers. Here's the change order request. Let me know what you think. And then generally they don't fight back with the terms. They generally just come back and say they'll accept the change order, or you should have just done this under the original SOW. In which case, then you just go to contract negotiator. Look, man, here's the contract we signed. It's not in there. I can't do it. If you want to do it, and I want to do it for you, you have to sign this change order. That's just the way it works. And with that, you can increase your revenue, stay on track, stay on budget with the original contract, so everyone wins. They get what they want, you make more money. In the end, that's what we all want, right? More money. So that's the first tip: scope creep and change orders. I could probably talk all day on this stuff, but it's important. Never let the client introduce any scope creep into your contracts. And when they do, bring up a change order, hand it to them, tell them how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take, an additional timeline. Get them to sign it. Get yourself more money. That's it. Hope you like the first video.